Hello, everybody. I'm Liliia Sitailo, and today I would talk about one of the hottest topics. It's how to create and plan your job strategy for an artist. And about our presentation plan, so we walk through the first questions that you have to ask yourself, then actually where to start when you want to find a new job, nevertheless of the reason. Then we will talk about job search loop and job search calendar. And then I will show off my own calendar, how it happened with me since my company. Yeah. And let's go about the questions that you have to ask yourself first. There will be a lot of cubes. So the first things that you have to do is realize how much time you actually have to find a new job. For example, with the recent layoffs, it could happen that you have to find it within 3 months and you haven't prepared anything, or maybe you're just thinking how to increase your possibility and looking for a dream job. Anyway, the way would be the same. It depends on how much actions and effort you have to do. So the first one, it's of course the very start is to analyze market condition and vacancies. And after it, yeah, you're just going through LinkedIn, searching for other websites and looking what actually people hiring for, whom they need. And then the best thing that you can do, it's ask yourself four most important question and sort all of the compared position, and then check how many positions you can be qualified the best, for which positions your experience are overqualified, then of course for which position you are not qualified enough, and then how many positions would prefer to have additional skills that you haven't yet. And that's like the super base. That's what help to understand how market is bad for now, or how something is going really well exactly for you. For example, if you're working with a 3D, then the stuff is not so complicated. Then the time frame. So if you're in a hurry, like it's really nice to set up deadline, or if it's casual looking or you're looking for a dream job. So basically we have to compilate these two things together. And the third one, of course, the most important, it's location. So are you willing to move? Are you looking for a country? Because sometimes it could happen like, oh, there is a lot of position, but all of them are in the USA, and you're like, oh, I don't want to move. So that's the best thing that you can do. It's to make as much preparation before actually start to apply and realize how many possibilities you actually have. And that's like the very basic. Then like, okay, now we have a list, like several lists with the sections, with positions, what's to do next. It's not about just start to applying. So I want to share my own method. I really like high effort, low impact, low effort, high impact scheme. So basically the very left corner, it's the best that you can do. It's something that requires not so many effort, but you can do it like really easily, and it could help you to find the job. With the next slides, I will talk about it in details, but basically as soon as you have the list of the stuff, then we're thinking, okay, what I can do to actually increase my chances to get the job, and then sort everything around. Yeah, so the first upper left corner, we are talking about the most important stuff that could require also huge effort and also low effort. And here is like, of course, for an artist, the most important, it's a portfolio. And we assume that we have a list of positions that we would like to apply, and we can see how much is it matching to actual description of possible positions. And then the most important thing, it's try to match it. And sometimes it's even makes sense. For example, you work it with both environment and characters, or in realistic and casual art style at the same time. Makes sense to make two separated portfolio, because companies that work in casual styles, they would see a lot of realistic things, and probably recruiter would just skip it. The same with the CV or resume. Uh, it's very important to set up everything, and it's nice to have the basic CV and resume and adjust it to actual position, because already we did some pre-job during our job search to find the most important stuff. And it will significantly increase quality of your application, because a lot of people applying without looking carefully at the full description, or for example the main focus of the company, and that's what helps to get in like closest 20% of applications nevertheless. Then the third one, we have LinkedIn account, and that's a very widespread point that you have to do. It's really nice to have a LinkedIn account already up to date and just update it during the time. And after it's like you can look for a job passively, and for example get a layoff, as it could happen. It makes sense as soon as possible start to post about you're looking for a job, and you're looking forward for this stuff. Of course, not as much as fast as possible, but after previous steps preparation, when you know what exactly you're looking for, how big is your network. Maybe your former colleagues would see your post and they would tell like, oh, we haven't posted position yet, but in our company we're actually looking for somebody like you. That could be a great match, and that significantly increases chances to find job fast. Also, a really nice thing to do if you have a lot of projects and different art styles. You can also make a presentation or mirror presentation where you would clarify like, oh, at this time I worked with exactly this thing, and here you can see my workflow, and you can just put the steps of your work in progress from the drafts to the final renders, or a lot of exploration iteration steps. In my case, I've done the mirror presentation really fast because it was really important to me just to put everything down and analyze like, okay, what actually I have in my pool of artworks, and what makes sense to put inside the portfolio. So it's kind of small helpers that help you to clarify your portfolio better and to just sort the stuff. And it's really nice to add this presentation in the cover letter, and then, for example, a recruiter or the team could click on the link, and they would already know how you're working, how is your flow is going. And already this thing is really good, because they understand, okay, oh, his process is mostly like really familiar to what we are doing. That's great. I actually have done really a lot of open applications, and a lot of people answered me like, oh, that's really nice idea. I really like your mirror presentation. We are not hiring for now, but it looks really cool. And of course, it's completely different from the answers when they just tell me like, oh, thank you, we're not looking for somebody. So that was not automatic answers. People really looked at it, and yeah. put some attention exactly to your application. Then also really important thing, it's recommendations. You can ask your current team or former lead or manager to talk about, just ask for recommendation inside the LinkedIn, or you can put as a referral. And during asking for recommendation, you can also have a cup of coffee talk, and maybe somebody from your colleagues would share for you information that's somewhere else the position could be open, because a lot of position could be like they opened inside the company, but they haven't published it publicly yet. And that's really a nice spot, because you have much bigger chances to get hired, because the amount of people they're looking for are much smaller. And of course, as colleague and network, especially if, for example, you're got laid off, that's very important to start to talk with people and remember everybody, and they would remember you and think about you, and that's really nice. And the most important step after all of this, as soon as we set up the most important thing, ask for recommendation, ask colleagues and network, the next step, it's endless iterations of reworking your stuff. So you've done with your CV, resume, you've done with your portfolio, with presentation, and the next step is to try to improve it. It's really nice idea to ask colleagues or somebody else. For example, LinkedIn, you can ask other colleagues or even somebody in your connections that you think that they could provide you feedback, like, I'm looking for a job, what do you think about this my preparation? Do you think is it good? And then probably it's really nice to clarify that I'm, for example, looking for a job as a fantasy illustrator, for example, and the person, could also give you meaningful comments, and then you improving it and going further. Then a bit more complicated things that we can do, continue to do. It's, of course, market condition research. And here is, I think the most important, it's LinkedIn. Because there is the biggest amount of actually companies market here. The bad things that a lot of companies also closing, so it's not always obvious is the company hiring or they close it already. But still, for now, it's like the widest search for companies within your country, or within continent, or just worldwide, or mobile, or other. The search is really good. Then we have Game Dev Map. It's not as good and as wide as LinkedIn, but it's nicely updated. It makes sense to look through it as well. And with the LinkedIn, it's also nice that after you found these companies, you're trying to look at their personal websites, because a lot of positions also getting posted on the website of the company, but is not posted in LinkedIn. They could also post it in several different websites, especially if you're looking for a job in other country. For example, you're willing to move, they can do it only on their local website. Looking for companies also helps to set up relevant portfolio. Really nice thing to do. It's after you clarify everything previously. It's also a really nice idea to set up portfolio to these companies that are relevant enough, and it works the best, of course, for the dream looking job, because then you have really good amount of time to look at the whole market and check, how many companies working in the style I would like to work, and these kind of things. Then next thing is really nice about LinkedIn posts. It's really good tool to actually tell the world like, oh, I'm looking for a job now, and LinkedIn likes posts with pictures, which works really good for an artist. And of course, don't forget to protect your artworks. That's also very important. And yeah, it makes sense to make posts almost daily, and then you also can see, for example, how many people have impression or who is looking to your pictures. And then you can realize, okay, maybe I'm now thinking to change something. And then you can see like, okay, I would post like 1 week pictures in a one style, and then I would try to make something more simplified. And then you can see how's your connection network working for it. Of course, it's already required from you to make a big and wide enough network before doing it. And after all of this previous stuff, it's of course next important that you have to do during the time, like planning time slots when you're actually making job applications, because now we know condition of the market, we prepared portfolio, we prepared vacancies that we want to actually apply for. And then if it's not so job in a hurry up, because open applications, it's time consuming, but low result things, because company most likely do not looking for anybody exactly now, but in the future it could be changed. So for a fast job search, it's not the best idea to send a lot of them, because it's really time consuming and you can use this time more successful. And the next one, and also very important thing, it's try to track all applications and all requests. For example, Notion job application template working perfect. It's really fast and easy to use. And you can remember everything, and you always will see which companies refused you, which is unanswered. You can sort it, and then it's also give you a lot of information what you're doing good and what is not so good. And about it, we are going into job search loop. So of course we are starting with job applications and open applications if we have time for it. And we trying to find, of course, jobs that are perfect match for us and we are for them, for which we are qualified enough, for which we need to improve portfolio or additional skills or need to learn something new. So it's really nice idea to keep the direction for future. That's why it makes sense to actually look at everything, just working actively with the things that works for you the best, of course. And then we have, of course, usually it's first interview, it's technical interview, and then team interview. For an artist, fortunately, we haven't behavioral tests or other complicated steps. And after it, during the, of course, if your portfolio is really good enough and it's already much in position, there is really high chance that you can skip the test part of the interview, because future employer can see that, yeah, you're doing almost or exactly the same. That's why there is no problem. And of course, it's most likely will not happen that from the first apply happen at Magic and we will get a job offer. That's the whole idea, that we want to increase our chances of getting job and do it fast. That means that after all of these steps, and of course in the Notion, we assume that we are keeping track on each application and each reject or offer on each step, like how much we pass it. And sometimes you can see, for example, that from the technical or the team interview, you usually get and reject. So there will definitely be something in common between different positions. And it will not be so blind for what you have to work with. For example, if you apply and you get an instant reject almost always, then it means that something is going wrong with the CV portfolio. Then if you get in first interview screening, then probably there is some communication questions, or maybe a combination of experience, or for example you answering in the question in the focus that are not so interested for exactly this company. And yeah, with the technical interview, it's obvious technical skills is not good enough. Team interview, I think also really obvious. So that means that technically everything is great, but maybe each time team interview going really harder and there is some problems. That's also like, it's really nice because then you can see the list and you can see the weakest spots. And then what we can do, we can make improvements analyzing and reject analyzing. So trying to understand what was wrong on each step. And sometimes you can ask, of course, for feedback for the reject, for example, especially if it's later steps or a step after the test work. It's really nice to politely clarify what was. You can also, because you have all of this analysis, ask like, oh, was it the problem, for example, with the way how I'm making lightings in my illustration. And then probably recruiter would ask team about it and they would tell like, oh, really we don't like how you showing the proportions within the art tasks that we give to you. So that would help you to understand, okay, so I have to go a bit different way in the future. And job search calendar. Basically, some points that we have to remember and summarize, that we have to set up all deadlines, and it's really nice to remember, okay, so I planned to prepare everything like cover letter, CV, and LinkedIn account in the first week and find all positions that I could or I couldn't apply in general for an artist. Then yeah, of course, spend time to make analysis for it, and it's really nice to leave notes for yourself, and there is plenty of tools and the ways how you can do it. Yeah, and then I would repeat, set up a basic version of your CV, presentation, cover letter, and portfolio, and adjust it to match chosen position. Of course, with the cover letter, I think it's important to clarify it shouldn't be really wide and very abstract cover letter. It's really nice to have 3 sentences where you clarify, oh, I worked for this amount of years with this. Maybe if it's famous project, mention the name of the project, and then like I would like to work with this stuff, which is much actually company field. And then yeah, just proceed with it and send a link for portfolio and email if it's automatical thing in the cover letter. Then of course we cannot make analysis and constant improving of our stuff without tracking each application. Then, of course, remember to prepare to the interview. Always, especially if you change the job for a different country, they could have different requirements for how the CV should look, or how you have to show off the stuff, or which questions commonly you get in on the interview. For example, for me, it was a big surprise that in USA and Canada, in general, recruiters prefer to see CV or resume without a photo because it could be clarified as a discrimination part. So yeah, a lot of different details. And then as soon as you step in inside the art test, there is very important thing, especially on the art test. Sometimes people spending too much time for doing it when usually it's just a part of the company just want to confirm exact skills. And usually it's very clear what's the most important in the art test. And if you have, for example, an art test like all 20 points, what you have to do, then it's really nice idea to ask a question. For example, what's the most important skill you wanted to prove in your art test? For example, if there is request for full exploration with 20 really nicely drawn drafts and then fully rendered character concept art, then maybe something is wrong, somebody forget to clarify what's projects actually need, because the project don't need everything at the same time, and especially position, especially if the company is bigger. And then they could clarify, oh, the most important, we want to see how you're making exploration and how you're working with the shapes. And then you're like, okay, now I can spend on this art test no more than 4 or 5 hours. That would be much easier. Yeah, then analyze projects. Getting feedback if it's possible, and then of course repeat, improve, and repeat again, because basically we are trying each step again and again until you will get an offer that you would like to actually agree and would be happy to work there. And about my calendar as an example, so about small intro and my story. My company, former company, Killer Games, was announced that it's closing at 14th of June, and it was like, okay, so now I'm in another country under working job visa. There is started a lot of layoffs in the world in general, and the industry exactly for me within Denmark is fairly small, so there is not so many positions actually opened. And during all my job search within Denmark, haven't been opened any of positions that you can actually apply for exactly my profile and skill set. So the first thing and the first week what I've done, it's I started with updating portfolio for the first time and making presentation in Mira, not the presentation, but just putting all artworks that I can show off to the public and future employer what I can do. And just to clarify, okay, what I want to do, what I can do the most, what looks better, what is not. Then, of course, it's updating CV, it's LinkedIn post. And of course, also very important to turn on alerts for wished positions. That's really nice thing. So as soon as you made your market condition research.
Liliia, we have
Yep.
2 minutes to wrap up. Sorry.
Okay, good. Yes. So, and then basically after this first week, I went to constantly updating the stuff, applying for the positions, and I had several deadlines for myself. Basically, I passed 4 interviews in a total, not more interviews, but 4 companies, and I've got an offer. But the most important part going next. So I had my emergency plan deadline. What will gonna happen if I will not get an offer that I would like to accept within this time? And that's the most important part of the plan, that you have to create a deadline for a new plan. Yeah, that's all. Thank you for watching and would be happy to answer to your questions.
Thank you very much, Liliia. Very systematic approach. We have the recording, it will be available. Liliia, I'm going to, unfortunately, we have only 30 seconds left, but I'm going
Yeah.
to ask you to stay here on the backstage as we discussed. And there are some very good questions coming in, if you can answer
Yeah.
them in the chat.
Yep, sure. I will do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very
Yeah, thank you, Tom. See you.